Chag Sameach, happy Pesach, happy last days of Pesach. On the 7th day of Pesach, we celebrate the crossing of the sea. The traditional Torah reading is the reading of the Song of the Sea that you can hear and follow as Eben has recorded it for us on the other video accompanying this one. And I hope you can follow the Song of the Sea in this different mode as we read Torah these days together through this medium. And I wanted to share with you Kavanah as we prepare for the 7th day of Pesach and for the end of this holiday. You often hear me quote the very famous and known midrash that speaks about the moment where the angels are singing and praising God for crossing of the sea and for God saving the people of Israel from the Egyptians. And in that moment, God looks at the angels and says, "My children are drowning and you are singing songs of praise." And God refers to God's children speaking about the Egyptians, the ones that oppressed the people of Israel, the enemy. And God calls them my children. And it's for that reason that we diminish a little bit of our simcha during this time. It is for that reason, as you know, that we take 10 drops of our second cup of wine on the Seder Pesach, recognizing that even in the moments of profound joy, we diminish a little bit of our joy because of the suffering of others, even when it's the suffering of our own enemies. For that reason, in the last 2 days of Pesach, we say half Hallel, not the full Hallel, diminishing our joy and recognizing the suffering of the Egyptians. It is an incredibly profound teaching. The fact that our tradition says that even in the moment where we celebrate redemption, we recognize the pain of others. We recognize the pain of those who made us suffer. And I've been thinking a lot about this in a different way. Thinking about this in the times we are living. And what does it mean to hold both at the same time joy and hope and the knowledge of redemption, together with holding pain and suffering and sadness and tragedy. And I think this is true for these times for all of us. We are holding both. We need to hold both. I don't think there is another option. I hope we can hold the hope, the silver linings of this moment, the connections we are making that we wouldn't have made if we didn't have all these Zoom meetings and all these videos and all these phone calls we never did or never received before. We hold the hope and the knowledge that we'll get through this. The price will be hard and high, but we will get through this and we'll be stronger. And at the same time, we hold the suffering, our own suffering, the suffering of loneliness, of exhaustion, of at moments feeling despair. But I want us also to think about this on another way. For most of us that are watching this video, we're privileged. Our suffering right now is small. Either we are exhausted because children and work, it's me, it's my life. I'm trying to juggle 1,000 things at the same time. And for some of us, it's loneliness. It's being alone in our apartments. It's feeling that more and more than we felt it even before. For many of us, it's fear. It's the fear of getting sick and knowing that we're vulnerable to this sickness, and this sickness can bring tragedy to us or to others in our beloved families. But truth to be told, we're in a good place, most of us. And at this moment where we can hold the privilege and the beauty and the blessings that we have and really focus on how grateful we are for what we have, it is very important for us also to recognize the suffering, the pain of those most in need. The suffering and the pain of those who are homeless, the suffering and the pain of those who are in jail, in the jail systems, the immigrants that are trying to figure out how to go through this, those who do not have rooms where to quarantine, those who cannot actually stay home, they must go to work, or those who have lost their jobs. They have lost their jobs and they don't know how they will pay their bills at the end of the month. They won't have food for their children. How do we hold both? That's the question for me. How do we hold both the suffering that we are witnessing around us and beyond our own communities and the communities that are in most need? And we also hold the blessings of our own lives. The blessings, I still think that's the joys and the hope and the silver linings of this moment. How many of us feel incredibly blessed for things that we didn't even know that we had in our lives? I don't have an answer, but I think it is important for us to hold both. So in a way, I'm taking that midrash, I'm changing it. And instead of thinking about the Egyptians, I'm thinking about all the creatures of God. And think about my creatures are drowning and you're singing Hallel. And we will continue to sing Hallel. And we will continue to sing the song of the sea and believe and hope and be connected and be grateful and laugh and enjoy what we have. And at the same time, we will diminish our joy, our singing, our blessings, because there are so many others that are suffering. We will continue our commitment to be able to help them as much as possible. Stay tuned about ways where we can be actively involved in taking care of those most in need in our communities, in our town, in our city, in our country. Chag Sameach. May the last 2 days of Pesach be a blessing to all of you. May you be able to sing and to cry at the same time, because that's what we do on this 7th day of Pesach. Chag Sameach.